Welcome to the Community Leader Podcast, where we talk with successful real estate agents from around the country. Plus, we have discussions with servant leaders who have a vision bigger than themselves and how they're helping their community. Now buckle up. We launch in 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Community Leaders Podcast. And I'm excited to be here with one of my favorite people. She's also on the council and she brings such an awesome dynamic to the team and a perspective. And I think she's actually Wonder Woman. And I'd like to welcome my friend from Philadelphia, Keira Ingram. Keira, K.I. Queen Pin. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here with you.
Yeah, I'm excited you taking the time out to not only meet with me, but share the information that you have with thousands of people, tens of millions of people, if we can help it, to hopefully help them break through one way or another through your experience. And that's what we do. That's kind of like the philosophy at Explore My Town. We just say, tell stories about interesting people, places, and things. That includes us talking with our partners because they're all successful. And you're on the debut podcast with us and you're able to, I mean, there were 5 of us in a half hour, so we didn't all get a lot of time to talk, and we're going to dive into that a little bit deeper. Tell us again about what you got going on for businesses, where you're at, and such like that.
So as you said, I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's my primary market. I'm also a licensed broker in Delaware, Maryland, and Georgia. I have a team of 40 agents and 5 admins. And I also have a real estate school where we help people obtain their licenses and do continuing education. And I'm a coach and a trainer and a author of how to become a real estate boss.
Yeah, you put on a conference, you got a book, you got all sorts of things
Yes.
going on. You got a bunch of agents and, multiple businesses to run across multiple states. How do you do it? What's your secret weapon?
My secret weapon really is delegation. Like it's hard, and I'm a controlling person. But on top of all of my business stuff, I'm also a mother of 4 and a minister at my church. So without delegation, it would be impossible to keep track of everything or get everything done. And it really took me years of failure and like bumping my head against the wall to say, you know what, I really need help and I should delegate. So I've become better and better at it over the last like 5 years or so.
Yeah, man, you just hit on a word which I think is so powerful and misutilized, not utilized, or misunderstood. And Michael Gerber, author of the E-Myth, he writes about the difference between delegation and abdication. So the fact that and what makes successful people successful is the delegation. And so to hear you say that, it really warms my heart because it is at the core of everything. We can't do everything as leaders. We can't do everything. Even if you're just a sole real estate agent out there selling real estate, once you start to bring on a transaction coordinator, social media person, and leverage in these other areas, you have tremendous growth.
Right.
Do you have like managers at these other places or leaders at these other places and they report to you and handle the other people, or you manage them
Yeah.
all one-on-one?
No, I definitely do not manage everyone one-on-one. So overall in my brokerage, I would say half of my agents have dual licenses. So they're licensed in Pennsylvania and one of the other states that I'm licensed in. And then I have team leaders in place. So each
I
team
got
leader
you.
is responsible for a small group of agents. And I mostly interact with them as far as managing them. And I
Mhm.
really found, a lot of times we talk about delegation, but we don't really give the people that we're delegating to the power to make decisions. So
Mhm.
I found that giving them the leeway to make good decisions, they don't have to keep coming back to me with every little thing. And that seems to be working good for us.
I think that's powerful. I think that is really powerful. You want your leaders to be confident that they can make decisions and lead. I always tell my team here is you know what we want to do, make the decision to do it. As long as
Right.
once we get to this boundary, that's where you have to consult me. But
Right.
besides that, these are the SOPs. This is the mission statement. We're all bought in. So Let's do that. So I didn't realize you were, maybe I did, I just didn't catch on, but you're a minister at at your church too.
Yes, I'm an ordained minister. I've been preaching since I was 14, so
Wow.
it's been a very long journey of ministering.
Yeah, that's awesome though, is because I do believe, whatever anybody's beliefs are or faiths are or whatever like that, giving back, I think giving back is so powerful and helping other people lead to whatever that promised picture looks like. It could be success, it could be overcoming addiction, it could be finding God and understanding the word of God, right? So giving back is so powerful, which leads me to this question. You got lots of things going on, you got these multiple businesses, you got a
Right.
family, you got a in the weight, I've experienced this, the weight of the world is on your shoulders at times, and it feels crushing. And then when
Mhm.
something that doesn't go according to script happens, when something comes in and knocks you off kilter, like a personal issue or any of these other things, or we talked, and we can dive into this a little bit more about how you have a support system where the agents can all come to
Right.
for mental health questions or issues. We're not psychoanalyzing anybody, but you
Right.
need somebody to talk to. We're here, right?
Right.
How do you stay motivated and positive? How do you, because you have, as the leader of so many, you have to stay positive. How do
Right.
you stay positive with and recharge? How does Kiera recharge her batteries and stay positive?
I mean, I really believe in being spiritually grounded. So, like church and feet in my soul and my spirit, that's like big on my list every day. When I first wake up, I'm praying. I have an accountability partner. We pray every morning. I read the Bible, say my scriptures, listen to positive people because ultimately, it's so many people depending on me. I have to make sure that I can stay grounded myself. And then I'm a big believer in self care. And I know self care has become like this buzzword and the world has monetized on it, but I believe in like free self care, taking a walk, taking a bubble bath, things that just can
Mhm.
help you be grounded and relax and not think about other people. Too many times we don't take care of ourselves and then we're no good to other people. So I tell my agents, and they're always rolling their eyes because I'm like, you need like 16 hours of self care a week if everything is going good. And when things are going bad, you need even more. So I'm big on that.
Yeah, it's interesting because I have dinner with my best friend a couple times a week, and it always, well, it doesn't always, but often it will revolve around something. I don't even want to say opulent, but a piece of steak or a
Mhm.
lobster or something that's not hamburger. And we sit down, we're very thankful. We get, we say our prayers and everything. And, we look at each other and say, we love, I will say, I love myself and I'm going to love this lobster because I do believe we need to spoil ourselves. We're so busy giving to
Yes.
everybody else. And here's the thing, when you're on, I'm going to say a couple cliche things. When you're on the airplane, they say put the oxygen mask on first, right? And
Right.
I came to find out because, I struggle with codependency. And I came to find out that the way, when you make unconscious decisions and you're just in the system and you're just eating and you're just responding throughout life, there's a significant difference to when you become conscious and you are intentionally doing things that you like, that you love, that you enjoy, that bring you joy. But when
Right.
you have a happy, healthy self, you can help so many more people. If you don't have a happy, healthy self, you can only help as much as you love yourself, right?
Right.
You can only love somebody as much as you love yourself. So it's good. I love to hear those words from a leader saying, take some time, because we are in this industry where we're judged. We're judged based upon how many houses we sell and how much money we make. End of it.
Right.
There's no award for creativity. There's no award for impact. There's no award for contribution. The only awards are about how many houses you sold.
Right.
So to hear a leader like you say, take some time for yourself, I love to hear it, and it's powerful. And we're going to make that into some micro content in itself. So talk to us a little bit about the support system, because I know that you got, a bunch of people around you and stuff like that. And Talk to us about how Ki and Associates, how you guys support one another in what you do and making sure everybody's staying on the right track.
Yeah, I was just talking to someone else about the changes that I think are going to happen in the market. And I was telling them that I think one of the biggest changes that I see is that agents want to be in a place where the broker cares more about them than their money. So we have tried to make an atmosphere here where people come in, they know that we care. We give them time where they can discuss different things like mental health issues. They can discuss the stressors of their lives that they might not have the opportunity to discuss else places. And they can also discuss the ups and downs of being a CEO, because in most groups, if you are the CEO, you can't explain to other people who work a 9 to 5 like your struggles, because they really don't understand. They think you just have all this free time and no worries and you're making this money and what are you complaining about? So we really try to make sure that we have a safe place where people can discuss those things. I've also found that although people in our industry that are making money, a lot of times they're not financially literate. So it's like they're
Yes.
getting all these big checks, they don't know what to do with them, and they're finding themselves still working check to check, even though they're making more money. So we try to discuss those issues and just be a place where there's no judgment. We always say it's a judgment free zone, to just discuss what's really going on and to figure out how you can get the help that you need.
Mhm.
Most of my agents are Black and Brown agents, and we talk a lot about generational issues that we have that are just in us from emotional things that just kind of go from generation to generation, dealing with slavery and racism and all of those kind of things. Because sometimes you just need a place to vent and then get built back up and then go back out and win another day. So,
Yeah, and that is awesome. We're going to dive into that in a minute, and I that is real. What you just said is real, and I think the larger the population you're around, the more real it becomes. Right. What I
right,
mean by
right.
that is, I live in New Hampshire. You live in Philadelphia. There's
Mhm.
more people in Philadelphia. There's going to be, it's going to occur more. These things exist, and
Right,
we all deal with different things, culturally or passed down, or they socioeconomical and all these other things. But um, there's real things. There's real things that black and brown people deal with, black and brown businesses deal with, that I don't know anything about. I'm being
right,
educated every single. I just learned about the slave Bible. I might not have called it the
right.
right thing. There's a whole bunch of stuff left out of it
Yeah,
that they didn't want some people knowing about. Right?
right.
These things are real.
Yeah,
But oftentimes the black and brown businesses might struggle, right? Or they're in, Philadelphia. It's a tough city, right? There's
hmm,
there's things going on. You have a mission to help black and brown businesses, not just the agents, not just the
right.
people that work for you, but you're branching out bigger than that through helping the businesses through the Explore My Town videos, through your course, through your books and things like that. Why don't you let's have a conversation about that. What is Keira doing? Your vision for that particular passion that you have.
Yeah, my passion is really to give those businesses a bigger platform and more exposure, because a lot of times Black and Brown businesses don't get the capital that they need. They don't really get the education that they need on how to grow their business, how to fix different things within their business, and a lot of times they're scared to ask because they already feel like they're being judged, or they feel like if they're asking, let's say it's a white loan officer, they already feel nervous about exposing their flaws to someone else and being embarrassed or being denied and things like that. So we really are trying to go out into the communities to talk to them about their different issues, the different struggles that they have in business, trying to
Mm.
help them see themselves in a better light. I'm a big believer that if we see ourselves the way that God sees us, then we'll have more confidence and we'll operate in a different way, despite whatever comes against us in society or anything else. So it's like really trying to help them change their mindset so that they can become more open to different things, despite the challenges that they have. And really Explore My Town Philadelphia has helped me be able to connect with more business owners, and really stay connected to them so that we can build this network of referrals and just different things where people can feel like they're getting something extra that they might not even knew they were missing. They might have just been used to being in a struggle and not realizing that they can get past just surviving in business and really start to reap the fruits of their business.
Yeah, man, that is so awesome. And we all need our, I'm going to use the term, and I don't want anybody to automatically run to the meaning of this term. The term is community. And
Yeah,
community is much more than your town, is much more than your neighborhood, is much more than your section. Community is the people that you allow into your ecosystem, right?
right.
Or the ecosystems that you may be in. So the fact that these business owners who are struggling, and small business owners in general struggle
Yeah.
because they don't teach financial literacy or how to balance
Mm-mm.
checkbooks or any of these things in school. They don't teach you about investments and all these other things.
Taxes.
So, right, taxes, right? All that money we make ain't ours. We got
Right.
business. We got that business partner that doesn't do a blessed thing. Yeah, taker, uncle, taking uncle. But
Yeah.
you're helping these people build this sense of community where they can rely on one another. And that is great, because I would add that to sphere hacking. Right, you're growing your sphere of influence, they're growing their sphere of influence. We
Right.
rise together, right?
Right.
We rise together. And I think when anybody listening to this, when you create your community, your sense of your ecosystem, your tribe, your people, you all rise together. But there is a lot of underserving that happens in the cities, right? There's a lot of underserving that happens in the cities. And then to find the answers, to find the solutions, can sometimes, they're all out there, but
Yeah.
sometimes we have been generationally through sociology and other things. And I'm not saying this is anything with anybody or
Right.
anything or any tones. We've been passed down our belief system. So
Right.
when you're trying to do something good, but you were never taught about taxes, when you're never taught about financial literacy and those types of things, I think the struggle for the small business owner and what you're doing is amplified.
Right.
You have been having some pretty good conversations lately with some people. I see them, right? Some interviews and stuff like that. What's the big picture? How big do you want to be nationwide? What organizations are out there that can be leaned into, or you can lean into? How big do you want this to be? Bigger than Philly? Do you want it to be, how big does Keira want to get?
I'm actually really introverted, so the idea of getting big is not really my goal, but I do understand. I'm way more comfortable behind the scenes and cheering
Sure.
everybody on and organizing, and I can make CEO decisions behind the scenes without anyone seeing my face. That's my preference. So
Yeah.
all of this is new for me. I feel like ever since I published my book and we've been getting more and more attention for our brokerage and different things that I'm doing, it's a little scary. So I'm not going to put a limit on God though, and I don't want to put a limit on how many people I can help. So that's the part that gets me like, okay, even though I'm
Yeah.
introverted, just come on and have a conversation, just let your nerves calm and just
Yeah.
do what you have to do. So I'm not putting a limit on how big that I want to get. My goal is to impact 1 million people, however that can be. So whether
Nice.
that's through my agents, I feel like every agent that I touch, they're impacting communities through the houses that they sell and the education they provide. When I'm doing this type of interview, I'm hoping that adds a couple thousand people to it. So
Right.
ultimately, that's my goal right now, is to just make an impact on 1 million people, and then we'll see what God says after that. But
Right.
that's really it for right now.
And at a point, you're you ain't even doing Kira's work anymore. You know what I mean? I ain't doing Johnny Moe's work anymore.
Right.
There's bigger purposes, right? There's bigger
Yeah.
passions and things like that. And for some reason, I feel like I'm 2 inches off the ground and being guided in the decisions. And
Yeah.
it's a wonderful feeling in the world. Now we deal with issues around the country, right? And they're real issues, and some areas have the issues, racial issues or tensions worse than others. There might be somebody listening to this podcast that might be dealing with an issue like that. Maybe it's a broker issue, maybe it's a home seller issue, maybe it's a co-broke issue.
Right.
What do you say to somebody that might be dealing with some sort of racism or profiling, right? Because it goes further, it goes
Right.
deeper than just black and brown people.
Right.
Asians, right? They
Yeah.
experience it. Russians are getting hate
Yeah.
thrown at them now, even though they had nothing to do with it,
Right.
right, with the war. But people always throughout our history have gotten some level of hate or prejudice thrown their way. How do you what would you say to somebody that experienced that, and how do you handle that?
I would say the biggest lessons that I have learned over the years is just literally to take it and let it motivate you instead of letting it make you bitter. So I really want to just take any hate that I receive and let that make me want to be a better person. Let that make me want to have a better business. We had this thing a couple of summers ago, actually, like a little bit after I had opened up my brokerage, where there were a bunch of black business owners getting all these threatening letters left on their storefronts, and they were breaking windows and just all these little things to kind of discourage black business owners in certain areas. And literally, there's nothing you can do to control how someone else feels about you, so it's no point in letting it drive you crazy. All you can do is just keep being vocal and keep pressing forward to your mission. So that's what I really encourage people to do. I'm often contacted by other minority women who are either the only minority women owned brokerage in their area or thinking about starting a minority owned brokerage. And I just let them know it will be challenging. There's many times I'm in a room and they're like, "What's your mission?" And I never shy away from it. I'm like, my mission is to increase real estate education, ownership, and wealth in Black, brown, and underserved communities. So
Mhm.
it's about just standing strong on your mission, no matter what room you're in, no matter how uncomfortable it makes other people feel, and making sure that overall your mission has a component that is going to bring everyone together. So if you focus on that, you won't really get distracted by the hate. It's there, but that's their problem. It's not yours.
I couldn't have asked for a better answer. That is fantastic. At the end of the day, we don't control how other people act or say or what they do. Well, only
Right.
thing we control is our response,
Yeah.
right? The only thing we do is so motivate yourself, right? Motivate.
Yes.
That's fantastic. How many agents did you say you had?
I have 40 agents right now that are licensed, and we have about 15 that are prepping for their exam. So hopefully by June 1st, we'll be well over 50. So we
That's gonna
started
be
this office with 3 agents in November of 2020, and now we're getting we're the largest black independent owned brokerage in Philadelphia right now. So
that's
we're
great.
continuously adding more agents. And my big thing with my agents is not that I necessarily want everyone to be $1 million agent. That's not everyone's goal. It's about
Sure.
finding financial freedom in this industry, which is doable. So that's what, we really try to help people see.
Yeah, not everybody wants. I was just having this conversation with myself this morning, walking, because I'm working on a new segment, and not everybody wants a yacht. Not everybody's
Right.
motivated by the yacht, right? I think you actually said it on our podcast, impact over income, right?
Yes.
Now, don't get me wrong. Michael Gerber told me this face to face in 2020 in California. Money is always a consideration, but it's not
Correct.
the motivator, right? It's not the
Yes.
motivator because it will never be enough if it's the motivator. But if your
Right.
motivation is to impact a million people, the money's going to follow, right? You're,
Right.
you're, you're just going to do your work and make impact to lives. If there is one entrepreneur living that's still working, that's still doing their thing, because I have certain ones that I find interesting and such like that, and then there's others that are, we all have that, right?
Mhm.
If there's a entrepreneur, a black entrepreneur out there right now, who would that be that you would think motivates you the most or has had a profound impact on you the most?
I would say Shonda Rhimes, which is weird. We're not in the same industry or anything like that, but she is an introverted businesswoman who has kicked down doors that no one really thought that she could kick down. And she has just been able to allow her talent to make room for her and just make whatever decisions she felt were right. And a lot of times when people thought that it was the wrong decision, it always comes out right for her. So she's someone that that really motivates me, and I like to see the things that she's doing that are different outside of what her industry says she should be doing. I like
Yeah.
that.
Well, we're gonna have to hook Sean. We're gonna have to tag Sean the Rhymes on this one. I'm not quite sure who she is. I have to look her up. Uh,
She created Scandal, the show Scandal.
oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's created a lot of shows now. She has like a deal with Netflix. She's doing Bridgerton, which is like everyone's talking about Bridgerton, at least here in Philly.
Yeah.
So she has like a lot of shows that she has done that have really made a big impact on the industry, on her industry.
Awesome. So Philadelphia, you mentioned Philly there a second ago, and it just propped up the question here. Kind of based upon what we talked about on the first episode a little bit, that
Mm.
Philadelphia is going through a lot. They're going through a
Yeah,
lot. And even with what you had just mentioned a minute ago, with people leaving letters and breaking windows and things like that, that's a lot, right?
right.
How do we heal? How do we come together as a people? How do we heal and move past that? Is it even possible?
I think it is possible. One of the biggest issues we're having right now in Philly is with gun violence. It's
Sure.
just totally out of control. I know it's, gun violence all over. It just seems like COVID, the combination of COVID, racial tensions, money being given to people, people just like not being able to do their normal routines has just made this explosion of violence and crimes and things like that. I think one of the biggest things that we can do, because in Philly, we're seeing a lot of children being involved in crimes, shooting each other, killing each other. I think we have to, all the adults have to just decide that we are going to put aside any differences that we have and really invest time and education into our children. There are a lot of children who do not feel loved or who don't have their parents. And I think if the community doesn't embrace those children will end up killing each other or robbing you or doing all these different things. So I think when you are investing back into children, it also softens your heart as an adult. So I think if we all spend more time investing into children and like really helping to care for them and nurturing their broken places, I think we'll all be a better community for it.
I agree. And I can see that firsthand. I have witnessed that firsthand here in my little city of Manchester through
Mhm.
the Salvation Army and program that my ex wife's brother in law put together. Amazing person. He's worked there. He got injured when he was 23 or 24, went to work there cooking and has never left. And now he's like
Wow.
the community center director, but they do kids cafe and stuff where the kids are getting at least one hot meal 4 days a week. And but
Yeah.
you're able to interact with the kids and have conversations. And you're right. It's the I don't even want to say the absent parent, but it could also be an addicted parent, whether
Right.
it's drugs or alcohol or whatever the other situations might be. And I don't pass judgment.
Right.
We all got demons are out there, man. Sometimes they attach themselves. Um,
Exactly.
but I think you're right. It is giving the kids hope, giving them passion, giving them something, and oftentimes those are the first programs that are cut, right? Is
Right.
because they're not vanity programs.
Right.
So that gives me a reason, and that one of the big reasons of Explore My Town is so we can generate funds so we can give them back to the community. So that's something I think we need to put on the board. And I don't feel as though we can solve the problem, but we can
Right.
start a ball of positive action and hopefully have an impact. And that's what we try to do, right?
Right. And a lot of times children are impacted just by seeing the possibilities. So that's why, like, even when I get nervous, I try to still step out into the forefront because I know there's a child somewhere that's like, oh my goodness, she looks like me and she's doing this and she's doing that. A funny story, I had someone, a kid from my church come up to me and she gave me a hug and she's like, you're famous. And I'm like, I'm really not famous. So she was like, I Googled you and I see your face. And I'm like, oh, like, well, I'm not famous like in the world. But to her, that was important. And she's like, and one day I'm going to be on Google too. And I'm just like, wow, like just us stepping into whoever God has called us to be, it can really impact children in that way because they see this new possibility that they may have never thought was possible for them.
Yeah. You're right, because really the child's scope of reality is limited at that particular
Limited.
point, right?
Right.
All they know is Google, right?
Right.
And there you are. They know YouTube, and there you are, right? So
Right.
that right there, and you hit on something that's so powerful is for every one person that you know that's watching you, there's 1,000 that you don't know.
Right.
Right. And that's why, I try to tell people, even when your camera's not on, act as though it is on, because you never
Yes.
know who's watching you. We've watched people's careers go down the drain, right? Just last month or the month before, there was some guy in Greenwich, Connecticut or something, some wealthy hedge fund manager threw a shake at a girl because they had put peanut butter in it or something along
Yeah.
those lines. That guy's whole career is out the window now, right?
Right.
He's not getting another job. But I don't even know where I was going with that. I got sidetracked from that. But oh, the camera's always on, because the camera
Yeah.
is always on. The camera is always on. So do the right thing, do the positive thing. I love the fact that the little gal came up to you, and she thought that you're famous, because you are famous, right? Tell me about your book. What's the book about?
The book is How to Become a Real Estate Boss, and it's really my contribution to the industry because I tell people my first year I made no money in real estate and I was like, what am I doing? So it's just a book to help people who are either new to real estate or wanting to relaunch their career, kind of just get back to the basics to figure out what they need to do to become a producing agent. Again, not necessarily making seven figures, but to produce enough where they can live a comfortable life, pay their
Yeah.
bills, and have that financial freedom. It's workbook sections in the book where they can answer questions and really reflect on what they need to do, where they are, and where they want to be.
I got this idea that just popped into my head, which is crazy because I don't have enough to do every day, and neither do you. But imagine having this course for, how old was this girl that hugged you?
She was 12.
12. Imagine, so tweens, right? They call them
Right.
tweens, right?
Yeah.
Imagine having this course for tweens, or
Right.
young adults, 13, 14, 15. Give them something to aspire for, right? Because
Yeah.
listen, man, every kid wants to, be famous, or be said, or be the next Elon Musk, right?
Right.
But oftentimes, more so in the cities, the closer
Yeah.
you get to, and in the cities, you're just closer to single parent households, right? The
Right.
closer you get to the single parent household, now the more difficult opportunity can be to see. That doesn't mean the opportunity doesn't exist. It just becomes more gray, if you would, a little
Right.
cloudy, a little foggy, right? A little smoky.
Yeah.
And that's what causes, it's like, what the hell do I have to live for? But if you can show somebody, what do you think? I have the number in my head. How many years would it take somebody with hard work and dedication to be financially free, or on a path to financial freedom? How many years do you think?
Honestly, it doesn't take that long. I think 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years.
I
And that's
think
what
two
I tell my
years.
agents.
I think 2 years you can be on the path. In 5, you're driving on cruise control,
True.
right?
Yeah.
Um, it's some hard work, but you need to know what that opportunity is.
Right.
And I love that that you have that book. How does one get that book?
It's on Amazon. If you search Keira Ingram on Amazon, it'll pop up. And it's also
Mhm.
on my website, www.howtobecomearealestateboss.com.
Nice, awesome.
Yeah,
And people like that book because you're talking about things that need to be talked about, but
right,
there's not a whole lot of education around it,
right. It's
right?
really not.
Yeah. And what's the name of the
It's
book?
shocking. It's how to become a real, I think, how to become a
Oh,
real
just
estate boss.
conveniently.
This, this is my original copy. So
Yeah. How to be a
I
real
keep it
estate
close
boss,
by.
right? So everybody, I would
Right.
get on there. And is it geared towards anybody specific? Is it geared towards females, or is it geared to
Um,
anybody in particular?
It's so funny. I wrote it, I guess because I'm female, so I wrote it in a female voice, but I literally had people from other industries like telling me that they thought it was helpful for them, event venue owners, a baker told me it was helpful for her. So it's
Right.
just like a basic why do you want to do this? What do you see your big picture as, and the steps that you can take to get there? So it's really for anybody.
Good. And you all should, if you're listening to this, you should go to the Amazon, probably $20, right? Go
Yep,
get the book.
$20. The ebook is like 10 or something, 9.99. So
Go get the book because I know Kira. I know. I mean, listen. If you're an agent, if you own a broker, a small brokerage, she owns a brokerage in multiple states, 5 states,
four.
right? Four
Yep.
states, 4 states with 40 agents, 5 admins. She owns a pre-licensing school. She does this training thing. And she ministers and she runs a family. I'd want to read your book. I'm going to read your book. I'm going to order it today because I want to read your book. I want to read
Thank
more
you.
about Kiera and what success looks like from that perspective. But you're building an amazing ecosystem for many people. And, I don't like the check boxes that the governments make us or put us into and all these other things.
Right.
That's a whole nother podcast, but that goes on a different channel. Piper's here to say hi, but you're helping small business owners, entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
You're helping people of Black and brown businesses or just of the Black and brown persuasion, right? You're
Right.
helping women, right? Because women have a different perspective. I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth when I say women have a different set of things that they have to, but it's true,
It
right?
is true.
I do believe 100% that anybody is capable of anything. You just want it bad enough.
Right.
But there's obstacles that each of these boxes that are there, that are present, that need to
Right.
be overcame differently. I cannot tell you from a female perspective on how to handle an issue or anything like that because, well, obviously reasons. I can't help you from a Black and brown perspective because reasons, right?
Right.
So to learn these different things, because at the end of the day, we are all one people, right?
Right.
We are all people. We're all humans. And there's different obstacles that these people got to overcome. But small businesses, man, we have we can all connect on that one, right? We
Yes,
can all connect on
definitely.
that one.
We're all a
And
little crazy too. Just a little
right,
bit.
right. Kira, how does somebody find you? What's the best way for them to find you?
The best way for them to find me is on my website, www.kiraingram.com. Just find me on my website, connect with me. I'm everywhere. I'm on Instagram, ki.queenpen, and on Facebook, ki.queenpen. And I'm super accessible. I do 15-minute talks, chats with anybody to answer anything pretty much. So
Ooh,
just go on
gotcha.
my website and click the button.
Yeah, there you go. So you're giving. You're giving to people. You're giving back to the community. This is probably why you and I connected was just that energy, and I do believe in
Yeah.
synergy. And you're trying to make an impact. Well, let me rephrase it. You are making an impact. We're
Thank
making an
you.
impact, and we're
Yes.
the impact that we can, the synergy that we're able to work together. I think makes a bigger impact. Any final thoughts, pieces of advice, words of wisdom for anybody of any persuasion?
Um, for everybody, anybody in business, delegate. That's my that is my words of wisdom. And do it
Delegate.
fast. Like don't wait, don't try to figure it out. Just start. Start delegating so that you can make a bigger impact and do more.
Yeah. And you can delegate simply by hiring a virtual assistant or a transaction coordinator, bookkeeper.
Yes.
You pay a bookkeeper $20, $30 an hour to handle your books for 10 hours a month. That should
Right.
be that was my number one thing because I'm horrible with money. I'm good
Right.
at two things, making it and spending it. Tracking it and it's not my thing, right? Making it and
Right.
spending it, I'm excellent at. So there's many ways that you can start out your delegation process. It doesn't need to be a full-time person. Start out with your
Right.
bookkeeper, your transaction coordination. If you're a real estate agent, right? There's a couple of things, and you can move on to the social media and those types of things. So you can be doing what you're supposed to be doing, running your business, meeting with clients, meeting with prospective, in your case, agents to grow the
Right.
business from that point. Awesome
Yeah.
stuff. Keira, I want to thank you. I know that some of the conversations that we have are risky conversations.
Yeah.
They could potentially be backlash or people saying, "Oh, you said this wrong" or whatever like that. Listen, I'm
It's
doing it.
okay.
You're doing it and I'm doing it. So I don't take criticism from people that aren't doing it. If you're not in the arena with the blood, sweat, and tears going on, then stay in the stands. You bought the ticket, right? You can boo as loud
Right.
as you want when you buy the ticket, right? But if you're in the arena, I can promise you, if you're in the arena, you don't even hear the boos. So
Yeah.
I want to thank you for doing the good work that you're doing. You're doing God's work. I'm doing the best that I can. I listen. I hear often. I listen as best I can.
You're
Um,
doing great.
and trying. I'm doing the best try and improve every day. And I think that's the key. It doesn't matter what your success looks like, you need to improve every day in some
Right.
facet or something. And once you're happy with your improvement, move on to other people, right? The
Right.
community and those types of things. But I want to thank you for the work that you're doing for Explore My Town. I want to thank you for the work that you're doing in your own community and for the agents, because all these agents that you're touching that work for you and the different people that are under your influence, they are impacting other people,
Right.
and that quantitative effect is, it's like throwing a pebble into the water and it just ripples and it continues to ripple.
Yeah.
That has a profound effect, and if we can change just one life, we did a good job.
Yeah.
Right, we did the work. So I want to thank you for being here, everybody.
Thank
Check
you.
us on the next episode. We'll be out. I don't know who we're talking to, but I can promise you we're going to have some good real conversation. On behalf of Explore My Town, peace out.